Hey, hello guys. We're here to solve input problem showing class. I am be able to solve all one quickly. So the idea is to reverse the interest in the head of the single and return the reverse list. So basically, we have multiple nodes connected to each other by something called a next pointer, so that the next one node can be mentioned, and this is indicated as the entire link list will be shown as a head. And if we have to reverse it, that means for every node I have to reverse the connections. That means what happens for the first node? The first node will start with a head and ends on 2 will now be reversed in connection. That means for 2, the connection should now be actually the one whose next it was. And for 1, the next should be a null pointer. So, what do I need to understand in the first place is that I have for every node I have a previous and current pointer. So with links as we are currently just working with list nodes, that is basically a pointer. I have a previous and a current pointer. So my previous starts at um, null pointer, and my current should start at the head. So what am I doing? I'm taking the current as the head, that is the start of this linked list, and the previous of this linked list is now mentioned as a null pointer because yes, there was nothing in the previous. So what do I do? Then I am in the first node. That is where my head is pointing. This is the current node that is 1. So what am I going to do? So as long as I know that my current node is not a null pointer, what am I going to do? I'm going to say that, okay, for this node 1, I am going to store its next value that is, so let me make a temporary variable and I say this will store the value of the next that I have. And now I have this connection. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to reverse the connection. So my current previous is equal to my current effectively, and the the current. So I have the previous and the current. So what happens after I change the previous and the current? Previous now becomes equal to the current, and the current now becomes equal to the time. And finally, I am going to return the previous. Okay, I'll just navigate there. Let's see. Okay, my bad. Okay, so let's see what happened. Okay, so for this very node, I need to store this node's value, this node's next, and the previous. So how did I store the previous? The previous was just this very node. So I have Let's do it this way. I have the head, okay? For one, I need the next. I have access to the previous as an pointer. When we reverse it, for two, the next is three. For three, the next is four and five. So let's say if I start from five, the next is going to be four and the previous is going to be an pointer. So effectively, the next of five is supposed to be the previous of five. So let's say I store the next of five as current next into a temp pointer. And let's say I just need a temp pointer over here. And for five, now the next is, oh, yeah. So the next of this is going to be the previous that I had, and is going to be equal to the previous that and the previous for this for a node as for next value somewhere, and I'm the next value equals my previous value, and my previous and my previous now equals to my current value. And then my current is equal to this temp value. This is basically the bucket redesign. Oh, perfectly. That's great, Bazinga. That's great. Uh, okay, yeah, I did take 9 hours, 6 minutes. It's just totally great. Another drama like this, okay. Let's say I started one. My previous is obviously no pointer. My current is at head. My current is at head, which is basically and or as long as current is not null, so that means for one, what are we going to do? We are going to store the temporary as we're going to store it next to the temporary. So this temporary will have node 2, and then node 2 next is now equal to previous, that is node, and the previous now equals current. The previous now equals current. And that is the previous of this item is going to be equal to the current. What was current? Is now not now is equal to current. Join and current is equal to 10, which is 2. Okay. How about I replace these items? Mhm. Yeah, I think you already understand this. Oh, okay. Yeah, now I see. Now I see what's happening. Okay. So for one, I need to just reverse the integers. So I see. Okay. So my current is one, my current is one, and I say the next one this is going to be stored into something called temporary. So for my one, I have the next store is temporary, I have its next store is temporary, and now the next one this is going to be previous, which is null. And for this query node, the previous is now going to be equal to my current, which is the previous one. My current is one. My current is one. This is now actually the previous. This is now actually the previous. And the current is equal to 10. Mm, okay. So now so earlier we were at now and next. Now we go like, okay, the previous is 1 and my next goes here. So that means I'm just moving the head to 2. That is now equal to 10. Okay. Okay. So now my current is equal to 2. My current is equal to 2. What is the current next? That is 3. Just throw this in. What is my current next? What should be my current next? It should be equal to my previous, that is 1. What should be the, okay, and now I just move them. So my previous is going to be current, that is 2. And the current is now going to move to the next item, that is 3. Okay, okay. So now I have, now we're current still exists. So what happens with 3? So the next item of 3 is 4. And for 4, this is the top value that we store. So it's going to be the next of 3. It is going to be actually the previous that we had. And now I say let's move the pointers. So I change the position of previous to 3 and the current position to 4, which is basically equal to current's next. Again, when we go back to the loop, and see, okay, what's the latest? So what is the next of 4? This is 5. I store it as temporary variable, and the current next. The current next is equal to previous at least 2. So, mm, so what is going to be the next of 4? That is going to be 3, that which is basically the previous that I had. And now we shift the pointer. So my previous is not 4 and my current is not easy, easy, easy. Okay. So now when my current is 5, I see that okay, it is still valid. So my temp is now equals 1 because the next is null. And my current of next is now equal to its previous. Okay, so its previous was 4. And the previous of this is now going to be equal to the current, which is the current, and the current goes to the next item that is null. So if I go back, okay, so do you think null, why null? Okay, so I exit the loop immediately. And what do I have to return? I have to return this number 5. That is, I have to return after returning the reverse linked list. That is having a head at 5. So what is 5? That is stored as the previous. So yeah, return the head, and that's how we get the right answer. I hope it was clear. If you want to understand the structure of the list node, it is structureless node in 12, and which means the node has a value, it has an pointer, and how do you declare it? So if you just mention parentheses, that means you initialize something with value 0 and the next is pointing to null. If you have x in the parentheses, which means you have a certain value assigned to the node, and the next is a pointer again. But if you also want to include what the list node should, what that node should point out next, then you can mention pointer to the next node. That means you have value x, and the next is this value that you entered right here. Okay, I hope that makes everything clear. Thank you for joining.